What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 8 of the Storming the Nexus podcast. We're back with another week of Heroes of the Storm news. I'm Jeremy Quick, and with me, as usual, are the gentlemen Kyle Landfear. How's it going?
Good. I think I might be 8-bit again. No?
No,
Yeah?
you're fine.
No?
You're fine.
Yeah! We're
Excellent. And down below me this week, Mike Chorman. Yeah, we can do that today. We're 4-boxing.
good. Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Hopefully I'm not 8-bit today.
No, you're
looking
fine
good.
also.
And that's it. That's the solution. There's 2 people streaming Netflix in the other room, and I'm fine.
Oh, so more internet equals less internet,
Yeah.
but equals
Stretch
more
the
internet.
tubes.
Mind games. And our special guest this week, you may know him, casting all over the place, FourCourtJester. How's it going?
That is me. Yes. It's an honor to be here, Alex. I mean, Squishei. You really remind me of the host of Jeopardy from Saturday Night Live, so I really want to throw in some Sean Connery jokes, but I think I'll resist.
He reminds you of Will Ferrell?
Just the way that he opens up. Like,
Oh,
welcome
okay.
to Jeopardy. Today, we have these people. Thanks. And then he just has that flow. I mean,
So-
it's a really good flow.
It's
Okay.
almost William Shatner-esque.
Your
So,
mom enjoyed it last night, Trebek. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had
We
to.
totally got to do like a Jeopardy Heroes of the Storm
a
thing later.
Jep party. Maybe when
Yeah.
the game actually releases, we can have, categories. Heroes.
I'll take anal bum cover for 2000, please.
Okay.
I'll
On
take
that,
That's why the Hyperion falls out of the sky for 200.
Yes.
let's transition off that. So, Gamer's Origin this week recently had an interview with Dustin Browder on the game. And one of the interesting questions that came up was snowballing. The developers want to avoid having games be out of control by the 15-minute mark, and then force people to play even though they know who the winner will be. Do you agree with this? I mean, is snowballing bad for a game, would you say?
As I was saying pre-show, I think we've all experienced that moment in League where one player on the enemy team, be it the Nasus top or the AD carry or somebody, just gets to that point where nothing you can do can stop them. They come out of the jungle suddenly, there's 3 of you and 1 of him, and there's no contest. He just walks through the 3 of you, triple kill, and he goes onto your tower. So, I mean, yeah, that's an issue, I think.
Jester?
Um,
Or Kyle, go ahead.
I think we almost talked about this last week, right? When we talked
Yeah.
about
Surrender?
the surrender mechanic. And I think that's why that's in place. So if they're not planning on having this snowballing being an issue, then maybe the surrender mechanic is less important. So, but I don't know. Like, I personally want a little bit of it. I want to be able to be in control because in any sort of any competition, be it esports or football or the other football or hockey, there may be a problem. There might become a time when they could gain. Someone's up 4 goals. You're probably not going to score 4 goals in the last 20 minutes of a soccer game. I don't. It's just I think there needs to be some aspect of snowballing, and because if not, you're like, oh, we were in the driver's seat for 18 minutes and then we lost because they kept getting extra XP for killing us, which kind of sucks.
Jester?
Snowballing feels like it's going to be harder to attain in this game because there's no solo lanes, there's no carry or support roles, there's no items or gold to grant you those immediate bonuses. Everything is just going to scale off level. And I mean, what's the worst we've seen in developer matches so far? Like 2 level difference between them? And even then, the fights are hardly ever, snowball in that regard. So I feel like it's going to be harder to do in this this game just because of the way the engine's set up.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got to agree with that. It's going to be harder because you don't have to force a full-on team fight to get back. You have multiple ways to get back in the game. You have mercenary camps. You have the map-wide objective, whether it's Blackheart's Bay, Haunted Mines, whatever. There's something else for you to be doing. Or maybe you can enter the throw pit and try to get the Grave Golem. I was going to say Baron, but, that's usual at this point.
The Walking Baron.
The Grave Golem.
Yeah, the Grave Golem. So they say that they have some measures in place and they can add some more to this. For example, when you kill a hero of higher level, you get massive amounts of bonus XP. And when you kill a hero of lower level, you get reduced XP from that player because you really didn't put much into that. Is this a good solution to add to the game?
That's a normal solution, at least in my eyes. Like, I don't think there's a game out there that doesn't have that behavior just by default.
It makes sense.
Some sort of aspect that allows you to catch up. Like you say in League, you have bounties, right? You kill someone that gets on a kill streak, you get extra gold for shutting them down. You get that shutdown gold, which is important. So you need to have these things in there. And I think Jester's right. Like it's just a harder game to snowball into. I caution that they don't want it to be impossible to snowball. I think at some point you want to be able to say, we dominated that game. Like we did everything right, and you want to get rewarded for that, as opposed to we did everything right and then lost.
I think because they're focusing more on this being a team game, and if your whole team snowballs, like all 5 of you just do fantastic, then I can possibly see one of these snowball-y situations where all of a sudden, your team is 4 or 5 levels above the other team.
Yeah, the other team. I mean, I've seen it when we went to BlizzCon. One of our matches was that just out of control, and that was partly due because we didn't know how all this stuff worked, right? So we didn't have people all the time in all lanes, and the other people had people getting this experience,
and it was just random.
We
didn't understand. No one told us that the XP was shared, just quite yet.
Yeah, so it can happen. I think like if you take risks as a team trying to catch up. But I think it's just going to be much harder to do.
We kind of talked about it last week as well, how kills aren't as rewarding in this game as well. I mean, the main objective of getting a kill is just to force them back so you can do other things. Whereas if you get bonus XP, that's great, but there's other things to do on that map. Once you do get the kill, that will probably end up being more helpful, such as a Blackheart, a Blackheart's Bay Barrage or whatnot.
Yeah. I still wish that there was more. Like I still feel like there should be something to getting a kill other than like less than a wave's worth of experience. Like even if it's just temporary, I feels weird that there's no like almost doesn't feel like there's a reward for killing someone.
Like kill someone and like you rally the troops and all the minions get like a 10% buff or something
for a short period of time.
Yeah, like something like that maybe.
There's 2 factors to a kill, however. There's your bonus, but their deficit as well. Like you're taking away from them. Let's say you get a kill in a solo lane, you're 1-on-1, or you had some gankers come in 3-on-1, whatever. You guys got that experience, which is great. But now that enemy lane is empty. They're not getting experience for those creeps. They're not pushing the lanes, and you've removed somebody out of the equation, which means that you can now safely do a 5v4. You can now take some jungle. You can now force some kind of issue because of overwhelming numbers. So while the kill experience is the immediate reward, you also got to factor the opportunity costs of not only the lost farming, but the lack of presence for that temporary duration of time in the game. So while I think that's why it's so low on the experience itself, because there's a 2-factor gain to it, whereas it's going to be that second factor that's going to be like the primary gain.
Yeah, no, I get that. No, we talked about it too, and I think like in order to actually empty out the experience, you're going to have to get 3 kills. Because even if you get it in a solo lane, they're so close on a lot of maps. A lot of maps are only 2 lanes. A lot of maps are like you just have, and it's not even the maps. A lot of champions can just jump around. Like you could throw Abathur in a lane, or ETC can jump down. So getting 1 kill, you probably aren't going to lose out on that much experience. Someone's going to come down there and kind of hang out and dance in and out of the wall there and kind of soak up that experience till you get your guy back. But I don't know. It still feels like I do get it. I think the top teams, you're going to make something happen in that situation. But every day normal queue by yourself, queue with a couple friends, I don't think the benefit's going to be that extreme.
With experience, do you guys expect that in a 2-lane versus 3-lane map, will they adjust the XP in the 2-lane maps to allow to basically get the same rate of level gain, or do you think it's just going to be slower overall on a 2-lane map?
It might just be slower overall. I mean, what are the 2-lane maps we've seen? Dragonshire and Haunted Mines, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Haunted Mines that's a pretty, You got to put a big investment into that objective. You're going down to another level of the map. You got to send a bunch of people down there. So I mean, I don't know where I'm going with this. No, I think it's just going to be slower overall. Because I don't see why they would. I mean, they could do that if it becomes an issue in the future, but I don't see why they would alter experience values based on map. Plus, not to mention, wouldn't those minions you kill in the mines give you experience anyway?
Yes, they would.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was going to go at.
There's that.
Plus, you
source
got a
of income.
boss, an extra boss. Plus, you also have a grave golem that you have to slaughter later.
Yeah.
So it might not look like there's, enough experience compared to the 3-lane maps, but I think the objectives actually make up for it. And again, we've seen those dev matches. Again, it's about a 20-minute match. So it really didn't impact the overall game length that much, just having 2 to 3 lanes.
Well, that just hit me. That might be why they're redoing Dragonshire, because that's a 2-lane map, but you spend a lot of times at a lane, because you're going for the shrine above the one lane and below the other lane. You're constantly vying for control of that, and then once you have both of them, you're keeping people out of there and going for the dragon statue. Nobody's in lane getting experience. So there's a map where, it could have been way too slow.
We talked about that, I believe, 2 episodes ago, about the whole Dragonshire rework. If you want to go watch that, it was episode 6, I believe.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about was that it might have just been a bit slow for them.
All right. So moving on now, from the second developer match, me and a couple other Hero of the Storm fanatics, including Mr. Jester down there, looked at how tower aggro functions. What we found out is that a tower will target a nearby minion at all costs and will not fixate onto other targets. Now, this is what we assume, and this is, of course, alpha, so things may change. Now, this seems to favor quick games, as tower diving is becoming a lot easier. You don't have to bounce tower aggro, stuff like that. Would you rather see a more complex targeting mechanic, though?
I don't even know. Like, I think this works well with their goal, like, again, of having these 20-minute games, right? This is just another way that they can add to this game is going to be fast. It's going to be furious. You're going to, like, it allows you to run that tower ammo down really quickly by just pushing your line, your minions in there, and allows you to get some tower dives. Although tower dives won't behave in necessarily the same way because there's that gate. You can't necessarily come around from behind unless you already have another tower gate down. So it won't work exactly the same. Tower diving won't necessarily be just like you see in other MOBAs. But it's going to be easier, I think, to just take these towers down and not worry about killing someone underneath their tower aggro.
And I'll concur with that. Like the diving aspect, it's very different in this game because of the way that the architecture is all set up, the way the maps are laid out. But as well, just as a note, the only game that actually has towers prioritize champions or heroes is League of Legends. I mean, Han and Dota have aggro calculables, but there's no guarantee that they're going to be able to actually target you on demand in a predictable manner. And even then, it's easy to get rid of it. You just lose your aggro. You can do that through the game engine mechanics itself. League of Legends is the only one that actually responds to heroes attacking you. That still doesn't stop a lot of tower dives. So
Right.
Coming into Heroes of the Storm, 20-minute games, towers with ammo, I don't think we need to prioritize, hitting heroes over top of anything else. If the algorithm right now is just it hits out creeps, you're just going to have to just push in the lane, wait for it to lose out all the ammo, and then just dive. But like if you dive before then and the tower is happily killing off another creep, that seems fine to me. Like again, the games aren't going to be really kill oriented as we just went over.
Not to mention, the tower is going to have ammo in the first place to actually fire.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you just deplete it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, kind of along the lines, do you think this is a better system for the game, or would the tower aggro system from Dota and Han, or the call to help system in League would be better? Any opinions there?
It's one of those tough calls right now. We need to see it in action in beta more than we've seen it, because I mean, this is just what we're gathering from observation right now. There's no official, like, Dustin Browder hasn't come out and said, all right, this is how towers work. So yeah, we need to see it first, and then I can make, me personally, then I can make a better,
I think if you wanted to slow the game down,
Opinion.
that would be a way to slow it down minuscule like amounts. Like it's not going to be that impressive because you just have people do what they do in League is just bounce aggro and send a bunch of people into that lane to take that tower down, that wall down. So if they want to, slow down maybe the beginning of the game, maybe that's a thing. If they're like, oh, we're going to slow us down a little bit, but try and keep the games at 20 minutes. But right now it seems to work exactly how they want it to. So,
Well, there's two more points on the towers that I want to bring up. Since right now the alpha looks like it's just a hugely modified StarCraft engine, StarCraft in multiplayer has never really had to deal with hero units at all. So it literally just might be that the programming just isn't there. It just targets closest. Just targets the closest unit, and that was fine enough for StarCraft. Like you can go in and as you have a photon cannon, you can tell it to attack something specific. Otherwise, the AI will take over, just attack some random thing. That might be one of the reasons why it acts as it does right now in alpha. The other is, do you want to make the towers a crutch for teams to tower hug? Do you want it to say that this is my space, you can't enter this space without getting attacked? Or do you want to give it a little bit more of that daring where more aggressive teams can actually chance going under the tower and not having it hit upon them? So that would not even make it, that would not slow down the game at all. That might actually speed it up.
And, I like that point because then you can risk it and go in, but then you got the gate there. The gate is kind of, fills the role of this is my space, you can't enter it because you can't. Once, the enemy goes past the gate, you can't follow them until you destroy it.
That's true. Yeah.
On that note, one thing that we've also noticed is the tower damage seems to be a lot lower than in other games, even though there's 2 towers there. I mean, it was the latest dev match where at level 1, Nova took 3 or 4 turret shots and came out at half health. Compared to other games where Dota, League, you take a tower shot at level 1 and you're going back to base before the laning phase
25%.
even starts. Yeah, you're just gone. You stay in lane, you're dead. Is tower damage just too low overall currently?
If they're meant to clear out creeps, then probably not. If they're meant to kill heroes and discourage them from early shenanigans, then for sure. But I don't see that angle kind of being pressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it would be an easy fix if that's something they wanted to change. They could just up the damage versus champions, right? But I don't like I said. Right now, it seems to be the game is working how they envision it for alpha with their in-house stuff going on. The next step in my mind would be once everything's running smoothly, you're not having crashes, you're not having like overload issues with the servers, and you release it to beta and you let people then give you feedback. Be like, oh, we like this, we don't like this, change this, and they're usually pretty receptive to that kind of stuff.
All right. So along the lines of towers, we talked briefly about it, but we're talking about ammo and ammo regen. From the video, it looks like the current ammo regen rate is about 1 every 10 seconds or so. Do you think this is quick enough? Combined that it usually takes, it looks like it takes 3 to 4 shots to kill a single creep.
What's the current ammo like? What's the bag? It's like 20 shots,
it's
right?
20 shots for the main outer towers and the first inner, and the castle has 40.
Was it 40? I thought it was 30.
It's 2
So
rows of
20 shots for, let's say it's 4 shots to kill a creep. You can kill 5 creeps uncontested.
per
So-
tower, so there's 2 in
yeah.
the front though.
So 2 creep waves uncontested, you'll be out of shots.
Right.
I think that's just more incentive to defend the lanes, to be honest. It's just like try to keep these creeps away from your tower so that they can actually shoot things when you want them to shoot things. If you lose out your tower and then a fight breaks out in front of it and, hey, I know it's looking at you, Nova, but there's nothing to shoot at you, then you're going to be at a disadvantage.
It's kind of subliminal messaging, right? That's for what you're saying is you need to be in lane to defend these or your towers are going to go down. Well, you need to be in lane. You need to be in lane
ensure
to this experience.
yeah, that the creeps don't hit your towers when you don't want them to, because you're going to be just shelling out shots and shots and shots. And then, again, like you come to an important crossroad of a team fight and you don't have anything left for defensive purposes. I mean, in most MOBAs, you don't want to be pushing the lane. You want to be in control of the lane. You want to try to keep it about mid because you have a jungler maybe coming in, or maybe you do want to push it and just go for a quick 3v1 early tower push. Here, since we got gates and 2 towers and ammo, it just feels like you just always want to be pushing those lanes and depleting your opponent's towers. So 1 every 10 seconds, 20 shots, 4 kills per creep or so. I mean, we just need more evidence, at least in my eyes, to see if that's like a good rate or if that's a good bag or anything like that. Because this is just really a little different than I'm used to in previous MOBAs.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's also it is like you're encouraging people to stay in lane so that they get that experience, so that they don't get snowballed, right? It all kind of connects to each other. So if you're not in lane and they're pushing against your tower, you're losing out on 2 things. You're going to lose ammo in your towers. You're going to lose those towers, and you didn't get all that experience. Now you're going to be way behind. So I think it's doing what they want. It like he said, if more people get into the game and just say, I want to be hitting people more often, not worrying about pushing these waves out, maybe they'll change it. But it seems good. It does like enough from what we've seen in the developer matches. Their way they're playing the game, it's not an issue most of the time. Usually those towers are dead before they run out of ammo.
Yeah.
Or there's an objective that spawns and destroys them anyways. Yeah.
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 Those.
Especially on Cursed Hollow when the towers, just get half health and then they don't fire anyways if they had ammo. So
yeah, they're saving ammo. That's fine.
They're in a crisis. They need to save up. So also in the interview with Gamers Origin, Dustin Browder talks about how heroes used to be able to refill the ammo of towers, but this led to the enemy team that was sieging leaving for an objective and coming back, and the tower's back to full ammo, which was definitely not what they envisioned. Do you think there should be alternate ways of refilling ammo, or just the passive regen should be enough?
On certain maps, it might be fun. Like a sub-objective. There's a mercenary camp holding, cannon shells or whatever. You can capture them and go deliver them back like you do the coins on Blackheart's Bay. Maybe something like that, or just keep the standard regen if it works out the way they want it to.
Yeah, like I said, most of the time these towers go down before the ammo's out anyways. So I don't see it being an issue. If you wanted to add that in the game, it'd be interesting, I think, to see be like, okay, they're sieging. We need 4 of us to stay, or 3, or however many people are sieging. You need at least 1 less than them, and the other guy's going to go run and grab ammo and bring it back so these towers don't run out. That'd be interesting, but I don't think the damage, like you said, the damage isn't really high enough for it to necessarily discourage that late game. People are just going to sit in there and take it and kill the tower, so it seems like just an odd thing to want to add in.
Towers late game are so far we've noticed a joke.
Oh yeah.
They don't discourage anything, but
More
the
so
fact they're
than
alive
Sergeant
by
Hammer's
end game is amazing.
Yeah, I mean the palace tower shots I don't think dented Arthas's health in one of the developer match that we witnessed.
Now that's something. Maybe the Nexus or the tower or the palace or the big fucking place where everyone lives should hurt. Maybe. I don't know. It's your last line of defense. You'd think it would hurt a little. Like something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Because it's always, every time I've seen a game, by the time they get to that, there's absolutely nothing they're going to do. These guys are just going to roll in. Unless you can give them, unless you can physically stop them, that tower does nothing. Like, they might as well have a fucking feather on top that just tickles people. Because it doesn't do anything.
I mean, it's not even... I don't know. Maybe it has ramping damage, but from what we saw, that Fountain Jester, it really didn't do anything.
It doesn't even shoot twice as fast. So
No.
it can't even clear out more minions faster or whatever. It doesn't. It's just
If you have 3 waves of creeps from 3 different lanes plus a whole hero contingent coming after you,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you can shoot once or 5 times a second. You're gonna lose that. That's a scenario. That's an end game loss scenario. So
Yeah.
I don't think having that shoot faster or shoot more. I don't think that would actually matter too much. Ramping up damage as time goes on, though, we've seen that as a League of Legends practice. Because they've had to implement scaling damage as time goes on to try to make towers less of a joke endgame. But again, like if your towers are there by the 15-minute mark in Heroes of the Storm, like you're doing something amazingly well. But that doesn't mean that you can't just come and roll over them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if towers like charged up like a void ray, per se, like if consistent firing increases the damage regardless of who it hits, maybe that could be an interesting solution. Maybe only on the fountain though. Or
I'd like to just see like the end base do something a little more because they look so impressive, right? They
Yeah.
look really cool, and then you go at them and they're like, "Pew! I got this! I got this!" Yeah, they're like shooting like wet noodles at you. It's weird.
Talking about all this I'd love to see a map centered around turrets. Like it's the same layout, but there's one central turret that hurts like a motherfucker, and you have to refill its ammo because it doesn't regen. There's your map objective.
A map in the
You put it on a track and you cart it around the map.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tower defense game. It's actually just tower defense. You have to run through all the towers.
It's like a payload game in Team Fortress, except the payload shoots people.
that would
Instead of
be
heals, it
interesting.
shoots. Yeah.
I mean, there's endless possibilities where they can go with the map creation. One of the things from StarCraft 2 that was asked forever, the most notable campaign map was the lava map, where the lava would rise and then it would fall. And people love that thing, asked for, I believe, months or years for that map to be multiplayer. Finally in multiplayer. And people are now asking if that's going to be in Heroes of the Storm.
That'd be an awesome map mechanic. Just something to worry about.
Here's my thing. I was really disappointed when they said that they were probably going to head into beta with just the maps that they have, including Dragonshire. I think they said that they were going to try and have Dragonshire reworked in time.
Right.
I was really disappointed with that. To me, that's what this is an objective-based game. Like the fact that you can have different maps with different objectives was really awesome to me. Like you could have, I mean, there's endless possibilities. Like I think that should be what they focus on. It should be their calling card, right? Like there's no other game like that just is like, oh well, we're a MOBA, but we have all these maps. Like you could, like I said, we've talked about how you can possibly ban maps in competitive play, just like they do in StarCraft. I really hope they rethink that and come out with and decide to go over some of the, and add some new maps.
You say rethink that, but it's beta. Hell, it's still alpha. Like
They're going
let them
into
finish the
beta.
kinks of the system before you go into a bit more of the creative works. And you're right, there are endless possibilities, but the game's not even out yet. So criticizing the fact that only releasing with 3 maps, I find just silly. I mean, the game's not even out yet, but only 3 maps? What is this? Like Child's Play? I mean,
But you
just
look,
patience.
I still feel like that's where they should be focusing on, not like more heroes. They have 20-something heroes. Other games have come out with
We
far
haven't even
less.
seen all the heroes.
Yeah.
right, but as you said, they're going into beta with 4 maps. What are they coming out of beta with? You don't know, 10?
They have said that they weren't sure. Maybe that was enough, but I don't
4
think
maps. How many maps are in League of Legends? 4.
One. Well, one real one.
One competitive.
Summoners, one competitive. Summoners Rift, Twisted Tree Line, Crystal Scar, and Howling Abyss. There's 4
To
maps.
be fair, I think Twisted Tree Line's still actually labeled as beta.
It is.
It still
okay,
is?
never mind.
Really?
Yeah, it says beta on it. Yeah.
Well, they would have had 5, but Magma. We shouldn't talk about that.
Magma
No,
Chain.
I think that's their calling card. That's what separates them. They're objective based, and so I think they should focus on that. Should be something they really wanna look at. And so what if some of them don't work? Like you said, it's in alpha, it's in beta. Here's 8 maps, right? Some may not work. We might have to revisit them and fix them, or just take them out and put some new ones in. They have talked about how easy it is for them to make maps. If it's that easy, do it.
Yeah. And we've talked about this in the past. 4 is kind of a weird number. I mean, there's 3 for a best of 3, 5 for a best of 5, or a best of 3 with 2 bands, but 4 is just kind of that intermediate number where they can go either way. Maybe Dragonshire won't pan out, or maybe they can add another, but we'll have to see what happens when we go into beta.
Dragonshire was fun though when I played it. I mean, maybe it wasn't panning out the way.
Loves Dragonshire.
I got to be the dragon. You kidding me? That was amazing.
He loves the unlimited power.
I liked Dragonshire, except I got my ass kicked.
With your 6 games, right?
That wasn't him.
pretty much.
I don't think.
Oh, that wasn't okay.
I don't think that was him.
We had
No.
someone else that, like in another group say, "I've played 6 games, man." We're like, "Yeah, you're totally pro. You know everything about it."
Yeah.
I played
Six.
3.
That's
Sorry.
that's the bar though. 6.
But I played Black Hearts, Cursed Mines, and Dragonshire. Dragonshire was the most fun. Okay, the Black Hearts was the best because that was my first game. I was like, "What is this?" I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, "This is amazing," and yeah. But Dragonshire was fun.
I was too hungover to play more than one game.
Oh god, that was hilarious.
The last thing that they said is that they will take in and redesign maps and then put out another one in its place consistently. So maybe they'll only have 4 maps out at a time, but maybe there'll be 10 maps in development just cycling through just so people don't get bored. I mean, we see League doing that right now, just cycling in new game types. Maybe that's what this game really needs.
Yeah,
By cycling, you mean like once a year.
Yeah. But here's what I'd like to. Other with that is I'd like to see them like, if it becomes an issue where people are only playing 1 or 2 maps and they consider those the competitive maps, then maybe you have to stop them from playing just those maps and cycle them in. But maybe you keep all the maps in for casual play, but you're doing ranked. Maybe ranked is only like based around 3 maps at a time or 5 maps at a time or something to that effect.
Or bring in the map bans like you brought up a while back.
Yeah. I like the map ban idea. I mean, it's not entirely new, but I think it would be really interesting in this genre.
To bring up the point about the number of maps, the number of champions and heroes and all that, I'm just trying to really think in terms of like the accepted, ranked or the accepted solo queue mentality, the accepted competitive mentality. Every MOBA has only ever taken really 1 map as their guiding light.
Yeah.
We now have a MOBA game designed for map flexibility, where you could actually now see map bans. We don't see that in previous MOBAs because everybody plays on the same map. Going forward with only 3, but having the chance to cycle out more, like there could very well be a possibility that they kind of treat it like, wow, World of Warcraft came out, they eventually added more and more PvPs, but now, they got a multitude of them. They also have specialty weekends, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just like, go queue up for Wrathy Basin, get double experience. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what kind of out-of-game systems we're going to have for Heroes of the Storm, but we might see specialty weekends like that where we have these multiple maps. If we can convince people to play a certain map for this weekend, perhaps they'll get X amount of rewards out of it. So that really might be a mechanic just to keep things fresh, keep things from staling out to the 1 map meta.
I like that idea, yeah. Do you, I have a question. This is kind of like way out there. This is way out there.
Put it out there.
Do you think when this game comes out, I mean, it's obviously at this point, I think we're all in the same boat where we think it's going to be a big game, correct? Like it's going to be something that may actually contend for
Blizzard,
just a
MOBA, lore. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty big game, right? So it's going to impact. It's going to impact the MOBA community in some way or another.
Right.
Do you see this maybe having other MOBAs looking at this going, if this comes out, this is a big success, should we maybe play with adding more maps to our competitive scenes?
I'm going to kill that right there because historically in every MOBA I've ever played, there's always the faction that bitches and moans and complains about they want more maps. Maps come out, they all shun it and say, why did you do that? We only want to play this 1 map. Every single MOBA.
Dominion being a good example of that.
ARAM is something I think people have embraced. I think they also
not competitive.
They don't look at it as competitive. But my point is, if this comes out and they see this as if they see this as a competitive thing, and they like we said, maybe banning maps. I don't know. To me, it seems like they may, but I don't see some of them doing it for sure. Because for the same reasons you just mentioned, most people they just see it and they go, I don't. That's not competitive. That's not real.
I think if other games were to do it successfully somehow, they would have to only put it out for a very niche portion of time where people can get into it before they get bored. Take it out while it's at its peak. Then when they put it back in, people will only will remember good things about it. But they can't just extend a long amount of time and just leave it out there forever.
I think League is doing something similar to that now with the different game modes. Putting in, seeing if you like it. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. We're going to take it out later. We'll put it in again maybe later if you like it, and then it gives them like it kind of gives them this safety zone, right? Be like, hey, you didn't like it? Hey, we're taking it out. It's no big deal. It wasn't going to be in here the whole time anyways. If they really like it, then they can bring it back later, and then maybe add it as a more permanent thing. We saw that with like the original Twisted Treeline people were very opposed to it. So
Okay. Jester, as the guest on the show, as Sophist continues to flicker and 8-bit and not, when is your predicted beta release date?
Public beta,
way
closed
back when.
beta, friends and family beta. What's the
First instance of beta.
first instance?
Like the first instance, like where press gets into
Yes.
it. You know, the first wave.
It's February 12 today.
Mm-hmm.
When's PAX? Is that in March or April?
Around there.
I would be very surprised if we did not have it before PAX, like some kind of form before PAX. I would. That's my bet. We'll see it before then.
PAX East?
Yeah, I think that's in April.
I think it's in April as well.
PAX
Alright.
East April. Yeah, April 11 to
Sounds right.
13.
Okay.
So to get some hype behind it, do it 2 weeks before that. So you're looking at end of March.
Give it 2 weeks before that, and everybody who attends PAX gets a beta key. Something.
They-
Well, that's
don't-
assuming
Blizzard
Blizzard
is-
has a booth, which I think they usually do, right?
Yeah. Didn't they they revealed Hearthstone at PAX East? No one had heard of Hearthstone before PAX East. I'm pretty sure it was PAX East where they revealed it.
I'll go. That seems
Yeah.
like a perfect time to do it because not only do you have a big congregation, but you're known for going there.
Right.
And as you said, Hearthstone this time last year. It's almost now been a year since
Yeah.
we've heard of Hearthstone, and look how big that got.
Right.
And that
yeah,
doesn't
Giving
that
everyone a
doesn't-
beta key. I don't know if they'll do that.
No, Blizzard isn't
that's
known
something
for
Blizzard
giving-
typically doesn't do.
Yeah.
True. I'm saying it would be nice.
That's pretty good because that does also allows Diablo 3 to kind of be released, let that cool down a little bit.
Yeah, we got
and
that
then-
coming up.
And
So that allows
Wad.
that to kind of cool down, and then that's
Wad.
not a bad.
When is that? What is that? The 25th. Wow. So that's March 25th is the next Souls.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good idea, I think. Right after that, once
Coinciding, maybe coinciding an announcement about it with the release of it. Just like this
Yeah.
is Blizzard's hype day. Get hype.
Because after the way Diablo 3 launched, they're going to want to focus their efforts on Reaper of Souls to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Speaking of
launch-
which, I think Reapers of Souls is aimed to be pretty good.
I've
do
been in
like
the
what they're
beta.
doing with it.
Yeah, I can see a lot of things that they fixed in it without getting too specific.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good. I
So,
like Diablo.
Kyle, aka Sophist,
8 bits, all 8 bits of me.
you're fine now.
Bobo Sophist.
You can follow him at the real Sophist. You can see.
Please do. I have 108 followers now. I'm kind of the man. No big deal.
Mike, aka Thilladren. Follow him at Thilladren.
I have 59 followers. I'm not as big of a deal, but I'm getting there.
Congratulations.
I'm about to get
only
shit
only
on.
10
Here we
more
go.
until you reach that magic number.
Kind of a small deal. Yeah.
Jester. Follow
Yeah.
him at FourCourtJester. How many followers do you have?
You don't want to know.
Way more than
A
108.
lot more than us.
3,734 as of the time of this recording.
People are slacking. I need 2,900 and something more. Obviously.
I've been building mine for 5 years over multiple video games. Like, I have a bit of a head start on
It's
it.
all the hat, man. It's the hat.
I need a hat. Oh, damn.
I
with-
found
with
if you wear a
bells.
hat in every situation, then you don't have to do anything about your hair.
Yeah, I should have really wore the hat, but then I can't wear the headphones.
And me,
Goes over
Jeremy.
nicely.
You can follow me at Squishei. I have something like 500. I'm not that good. See you guys next time.
No.